guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Hope and I make press-on gel nails. I have bare nails right now, and you know what that means? That means we're making another nail set. I think it's pretty obvious by now that I love SKULLPANDA, specifically the Warmth series and the Paradox series, which are these gorgeous like light pink, cream, slightly purple, beigey kind of tones. And I also recently added the Pochit Nudy Glaze 5-piece collection to my collection, and I think it's just perfect, right? Like, look how gorgeous these tones are. Just as a great neutral set that you can add in to any other collections, like that neutral tone. And also, these are so cool because they're non-wipe, so you can add chrome directly onto them. How cool. And for full transparency, these were gifted to me by Sweet Nail Supply to make a nail set with and share my honest review and thoughts. So if you are interested in purchasing the collection or any of the other products that I showed throughout this video, then I will have everything linked in the description, along with a fun, super fun announcement. But Sweet Nail Supply are having their summer 25% off sale, and for the first time, they are giving Sweetie brand ambassadors our own code to share with you if you would like to support us with any of your sale purchases. During the sale period, you can use code HOPE25 for 25% off any orders at checkout. So yeah, definitely a great time to be stocking up on some nail goodies. So hear me out, I'm thinking some sort of like angel core, Greek mythology, white, pink, purple, chrome cateye kind of vibe. So let's see how they turn out. If that sounds good to you, then stay tuned. Please give the video a like and subscribe if you want to see more gel nails content. And let's go over into my design. This is what we're thinking for the design. I think when you look at it this way, it may look a little chaotic, but there's method to this, okay? And also, if I zoom you down here, you'll see there were like 3 other iterations of this design before I settled on the above. But the main consistent inspiration is these 2 SKULLPANDA collections, the Warmth series and the Paradox series. I love this spinner cocoon one. I do not own her, but I'm very tempted to buy her. When Kai came to London, we went to POP MART together and we got SKULLPANDAs, and she got this one. I kind of want it as well so that we can match. I just really love the color palette where you have the cream and the light pinks and some deeper pinks as well, but then also you have this striking kind of like blue purple, and that's what led to this color theme. This collection by itself are so pretty, but I just think what's going to elevate this even more is adding in a pop of this blue hydrangea color from the Divock Once in a Summer Season 2 collection. I also picked up one of the Diami Cat Me powders because this is one of those powders that you can use as a cat eye, and it looks more like a flake cat eye, and then also as a chrome powder, and it's this gorgeous violet tone. In terms of inspiration, I don't really know what this aesthetic is, I'll be honest. I'm thinking it's kind of like angel core texture vibes. I ordered a bunch of molds from AliExpress, mainly butterflies, frames, but I want to kind of use these and potentially try and chrome over some of them. I also have some accent nail designs here from menail.vn and another star of the show. Okay, I am a bit obsessed with Little Kiss Co's work at the moment. I just love her vision, and she used the Favori Agate, the milk gel, for this kind of swirly design, and I just think this is going to pair so beautifully with the overall aesthetic. I mean, I hope so anyway. It also would not be me if I wasn't bringing in some sort of transparency into the design. So we're going to be doing some clear elements as well, using the Milk Snow Topper, which is also from Pocket, and it's just this really cool kind of like soft snow gel. And we're going to see how it goes and how it kind of shapes out, but this is the vision. I'm so excited to make these. In terms of tips, no surprise, is the Diami corn tip. I feel like you can probably expect that I'm going to be using these tips as standard for nail sets going forward. Diami tips just fit my nail beds really well. I've already prepped most of the tips for this set, but I did want to show you one little update in my process, but this is how long these tips usually are. So they're quite lengthy, and I love cutting them into a long tapered coffin kind of shape. If you watch my previous videos, you'll see that I was filing for ages. I now use this tool. This is like a specific nail clipper tool with these specific magnets that are like these small, thin, round ones. You can buy them very easily. I stuck 2 of those on here, and now what I do is I take the tip and I kind of place it there so that it catches up to the first magnet. Kind of angle it like that, and then I snip, and you have this gorgeous shape. Sorry, I don't know if that was in focus, but you get the idea. They should be pretty even, and if there's any kind of angle to it, I'll just refine that when I prep them at my nail station. Super quick. I can do like a whole set in like 3 to 5 minutes. Way easier than filing. And if you do want to like kind of check that they're all pretty accurate here, you can always just lay them on top of each other and they should line up pretty evenly. So as for the colors that we're going to be using, I have a few, 3 from the Pochit Nudy Glaze collection, and then of course the Divok DS29, which I think is like June Hydrangea. I've already done the swatches for these, so not my first impressions, but I'll show you what they look like. They're really pretty. These are in the OS01, 02, and 05 shades. The 2 lightest and then the deepest. The other 2 are more like orangey tones. But the reason why I love this collection so much is because these 2 lightest shades are like tinged pink. Obviously this is like the perfect neutral pink, but then let me show you the white. Like, look at that. The milkiest baby pink white, like slightly pink, but I just love that undertone to it. And then this is the OS02, which is a very pretty kind of like purpley pink. Look at that gorgeous tone. And then OS05, I'm TBD on whether I will actually use this or if it'll be too harsh, but I think this would be really nice as like a deep blush accent. Again, the perfect deep syrup pink. And I'd say all of these are like 50% syrups. So you can build them up, but they also are really nice on like one coat. DS29 from the Once in a Summer Season 2 collection. Looks like this. You can see it's more of an opaque syrup, but it's a really pretty tone, and I think it will just work perfectly. I will probably dilute this with some top gel. And then the 2 effects gels, the Pocket Paper Matte Top Gel. So this is their matte top gel, but you can also draw on this, which I think is really cool. And then the Milk Snow is like a snow topper. So let's see this. I've not seen this in person, so this is my first impressions. Oh, okay. I didn't know it had glitter in it. I might try to isolate out the white from this, but you can see it's a really pretty kind of like a petal topper, but make it white, and then it has rainbow glitters in it. Quite thick as well, this one. Whereas the syrup gels are more of a thin consistency. Also, last side note is, you guys know by now how much I love the Jello Jello gradation brush. So I picked up another 2. So now I have 4 in total, which is gonna be enough because I blend so many colors together in my sets. It's just a perfect like angle. Okay, let's discuss the Pochit Nudy Glaze gels now. So this is the first shade, like the white pinky cream shade on 1 coat and 2 coats. It self-levels so nicely. It's a little bit more of an opaque one, so I did leave it for a minute just to self-level into itself before curing. And then the other 2 shades I'm using, OS02 and OS05, a little bit more transparent, and these 2 again layer so nicely into each other as well. I didn't even feather any of this. Like, I could just paint them and they kind of just blended into each other. It was really easy. And then I did layer them up a little bit just for some opacity using my favorite Jello Jello gradation brush to feather where needed. But honestly, I got such a nice blend from these gels, and they're just so easy to work with, which is what I want from a neutral gel. They blend together nicely, they're transparent and syrupy, but you can build them up, and super easy to ombre. Then for the Divok June Hydrangea color, it's really pretty, right? But it was a little bit too opaque for my liking, so I wanted to dilute it with the Nail Bio top gel, because my thought process was I'll paint 1 coat as like a 0.5 coat, and then I'll go over that with a normal layer of the June Hydrangea. So I kind of made like a 1.5 coat here. You know what I mean? Because I just thought 2 coats of the June Hydrangea is nice, but it's very opaque. It was a bit too opaque for what I wanted for this set. Last kind of ombre base design is just blending the Pochit Nudy Glazes into something that is not the Pochit Nudy Glazes. So I blended it into the June Hydrangea and it still worked really nicely. Just a case of, you know, building up, feathering it where you need. But overall, I'm super impressed with these neutral gels, and I just know that I'm going to be using these as my go-to neutral gels in pretty much every set going forwards. They're just so easy to work with. They're exactly what I want. Because it would not be me if I was not doing transparent designs. I'm going to be doing some sort of blooming gel kind of design. I took the inspiration for this from actually one of the promo photos for the Pochit Nudy Glaze collection, where they'd layered the Milk Snow gel underneath and then done like an ombre blooming gel moment on the top with one of the, I think they used an OS04, but I'm using OS05 here. One thing to note though, when you're doing like a lot of layers, especially if you're doing blooming gels or things like this, is you want to make sure that you don't bulk out your side walls too much, especially if you're only adding like gel in the middle. Like for example here where I'm dotting in the OS05 color, because I'm concentrating so much of this gel in the middle, it can easily like morph out and flood those sides. So I always before curing will go down and like kind of swipe the sides just to prevent it bulking out, because this is a mistake that I've done in the past quite a few times. And then I'm just layering that up. I think in total I did 2 layers of the blooming gel, kind of just adding little bits where I needed and ombreing it and feathering it out. Maybe I'm a bit too much of a perfectionist. I just like having a bit more controls, and I'm just showing you here, this is what I mean. Like if you don't remove excess gel from the sides, it'll bulk out and you can file it, but it just never really looks that good. And then you also risk potentially like deforming your shape by over filing accidentally. So it's just best to prevent it from happening in general. Okay, now comes the fun. This is the Dye Me Cut Me Violet powder. I saw Kai swatch the green one in her Chrome Homes organization video and it looked insane. It's like a flake cat eye that you can use as a chrome powder as well. Oh my god, that's gorgeous. Wow, that's really pretty. You see this? A blue lilac? Oh my god. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going in with my handy dandy Jello mixing gel. I use this mixing gel for anything that's chrome powder related or like cat eye powder related. It is a little bit of a thicker gel though. Sometimes that's what you want because it does help if you want to, you know, kind of stop the cat eye pills from just completely moving out of the way. It kind of locks them in place, but at the same time, make sure that you don't mix powders like this into too thick of a formula, because then it may be a bit harder to move the pearls. You can see here, look how stunning this looks by itself. Like even if you didn't magnetize it, the powder itself just like painted on a layer, it looks so pretty. Oh my goodness. They have 5 other colors of this and I'm so tempted to pick up more of them. I will be fully honest with you. Although I did notice when I was magnetizing it, it was bubbling a little bit. I don't know if anybody else has experienced this. This hasn't really happened to me with any other cat eye powder that I've used before, so I'm not sure. I'm gonna keep playing around with it and see if I can get it to be smoother. I did dilute the Jello mixing gel down a little bit just to see if it was the mixing gel that was doing it with some nail bio top gel, and I think it worked a lot better. So maybe it was just that this specific gel was a bit too thick of a consistency. But honestly, overall, I'm really impressed and I'm so tempted. And then because I did want to riff that bubbling out a little bit, I did go and paint just a tiny bit more on a second layer and magnetize that, and it did fix it. So if you experience that issue, you can try layering it, probably will help you. And also a bonus is that it just makes the cat eye more impactful, right? So we love that. Now to move on to using Dye Me Cut Me powder as a actual chrome powder. I'm just painting on some details with that blue hydrangea color just for a bit more of a background, but honestly this blue hydrangea is quite light, so it's there in spirit, you know. But I love the buffing method for chrome isolation now. It is so clean and crispy. If you've never done the buffing method, it's a little intimidating at first because you're like, oh my goodness, I'm buffing the top of a whole nail, but it gives you the perfect isolation. So yeah, just painting a thin top coat, curing that for 60 seconds, and then going in with a 180 grit file just to buff off all of the shine. And then I wipe it with alcohol as well. And then we can go in with my chrome design. I did do a few tests just to see how the chrome powder would perform on clear, black, and white. It gives a slightly different effect, and it does have a slight tinge to it as well. I find this tends to be the case with any cat eye powder that you're going to use as a chrome powder. It'll have like a slight gray metallic tinge to it, but nothing too obvious. It looks really pretty. I ended up mixing a custom gray with the Kkookie thick white and thick black into the Fiorte Volume Mirror Gel, and I think it turned out pretty well. I quite like it, especially as like just an accent nail. Oh my god, look at that gorgeous chrome isolation. Oh my god.
And because I was just very curious, I also mixed this custom pink purple design on another nail just to see how it would shift that cat meat. And it does shift it slightly, so it adopts the color underneath, which is kind of cool. Something I want to experiment with more going forwards is applying chrome powders onto different colored bases.
There's so many first impressions in this video. Basically, I picked up the Favori Exotico Agate edition to the candle one because of Little Kisco as mentioned. So let's see what this is like. Oh my god, that is so fun. Oh, that's a really pretty color. It looks really white in the photos, but actually more of like a cream color. Oh my god, it's hard. Oh, what? What? Okay. Oh my god, that's so fun. Maybe I just use a spatula with it then. Oh my god, that's so cool. Is this gonna match? I swear it's whiter in images. I'm really confused.
Because I ended up vetoing the Agate Satoko candle milk gel for this set because it was a bit too creamy beigey. I decided we're going to switch it up and actually use the paper matte top gel for some drawing. I was chatting with Kai about gel pens and she recommended these Gelly Roll ones to me. So I picked up a pack of 3 in 0.5, 0.8 and 1. And I was so curious. I thought that maybe this would be the perfect way to test this out. And I was pleasantly surprised. So I painted on a coat of that paper matte top gel. I will say though that this is more of a frosty, thicker consistency, but you can thin it out very nicely. It was a little challenging to get the pens to work, but I'm also wondering whether that was because it's on such a curved nail surface and maybe I needed to leave the pens upside down as well. And because it's SKULLPANDA, I just decided to jazz this up with some pearls. I got these like actual round pearl beads on Amazon and I think they're really pretty.
Ooh, that works better. So I think putting the pens upside down is the move. Also, Kai said that this wipes off if you don't like what you're doing. Look at that. Amazing.
Now we can move on to some 3D cateye matte nails. This is a design that I think is really impactful, but I never really do it that much. Essentially, it's where you put a matte top coat on top of a cateye, and then you can go in with some sort of clear embo gel or 3D gel to highlight parts of it, and then the cateye shines through. Super pretty, quite a simple technique, and yeah, as mentioned, quite an impactful technique as well. Because if you put 3D on cateye, sometimes it can kind of get lost if it's on like a clear, shiny top gel. This design does take a little bit of time. I wanted to replicate wings, but I wanted to kind of replicate the butterfly wing design from that mold. So I just go in with globs of my Jello Gel zigzag gel. I love this gel so much. It is one of my ride or dies. With the Sweetie Nail Supply number 2 liner. Again, this brush I love. I love this brush. The Sweetie Nail Supply brushes in general are just all really great. I just kind of add a glob, pull it down and refine it a little bit, and then flash cure. I'm doing this in 2 layers. So the first layer doesn't have to be super 3D. I'm essentially just using this as a guide to build out the shape, and then I'll add the 3D definition on a second layer. This is how it looks, and then this is what I'm doing now with that second layer again. You can really just play around with how much gel and how much definition you want to have on it. And I'm just showing you here, I did 2 variations. The first one is a bit of a longer wing design on 1 layer, and then the second one is a bit of a shorter wing design on 2 layers. So let me know what you think. Which design do you prefer? I'm undecided personally, but I think they're both pretty in their own way.
I got new molds, so expect a nail supply haul soon, but look at how beautiful these wings are.
Now we can move on to 3D molding, another love of mine. I'm using a new gel. So this is the Scents Popo White gel. You can essentially just chrome right on top of this gel. And I thought that the colorway and the consistency of it just looked really easy to work with. It's very similar to the Jello zigzag consistency, but maybe a bit more globby. So I thought it would be really nice to use in molds. I'm just doing a test here. I'm trying to get into the habit of doing more curing tests, especially with my 3D gels, because you're building these these up to a thicker consistency, and especially if you're mixing in like other colors into them, it's always really important just to make sure that your gels are curing fully. And the way that I'm doing this is just chopping it and testing the middle, and it was rock solid, so it gave me a lot of confidence. And then I'm just filling in the mold. And guys, can we just take a moment to appreciate how pretty these wing molds are? Oh my goodness, I'm so happy that I found these. I got them on AliExpress. They are a little bit tricky to fill in, even though the Since Popo white gel is like really nice to use in molds because it kind of just globs to itself. I did find these molds a little bit more of a challenging one to fill in. So I went in with a pencil brush just to kind of refine all of the edges, and then a dotting tool I found was very helpful for the antenna parts. But if anybody has any recommendations on tools or specific gels to use in molds, please let me know. Also, a note on using this Popo white gel in molds is it will kind of adopt the color underneath if you don't paint the back of it. So I went in with the Devoc Fanta White just to add a very thin layer, and then when I attach that to the nail, you can see even though I've attached it to quite a deep base and on top of fixing gel, it hasn't diluted the color of the mold charm at all, which is exactly what I wanted, because I did do a test previously on the June hydrangea color and it just immediately turned like a grey colour. So maybe something you can consider doing if you also have that issue. We're almost finished with the nail art, but I also had this idea in my brain that I could not get out of my brain. I wanted to try using these 3D stamping tools in 3D gel, but to then attach it on the nail after. If that makes sense. Like, I've seen quite a lot of Korean nail techs recently using these stamping pens on a layer of 3D gel that's already been applied to the nail, but I didn't want to like bulk out my nail a lot. I wanted to build out the charm and then attach it after. So that's what I'm testing here, and I think it actually worked pretty okay. I'm using the Valatoy gel, and just a note on the Valatoy gel is it says a minimum 1 minute, so I always cure it for 2 minutes, but in this case I cured it for 60 seconds after kind of stamping out my shape, and it still had some flexibility to it, which actually was really useful because then I could mold it and bend it onto the nail shape, and then I cured it for the rest of the time after it was attached. I don't know if anybody else has done this idea before. I've never seen it online, but I'm gonna keep refining it. I'll keep you updated with the progress of this, but I think it's really impactful and it looked really cool on a matte cateye layer as well. The rest of the nails are just charms and little accents, so like 3D balls. I love adding these 3D balls just onto random nails for dimension. And it's SKULLPANDA, right? So I just wanted to keep that emphasis on the round balls because like she has her little headphones, you know? Whenever it's SKULLPANDA, it's just going to be a lot of round things. Here I am also just doing some encapsulation. These molds didn't lay super flat on the nails. It's also because I didn't like push it down as I was curing it. So I just went in with some of the Le Hua Power Fix gel again, just to fill in all of the gaps so hair doesn't get caught, you know, that kind of thing. And then we can do a final top coat. And then from my strawberry fruit nails video, one of you guys mentioned that for these kind of charms that are a bit matte and you don't want to make them super shiny, you'll go on with a sponge and just dab top coat onto them. So that's what I've done here. I'll keep you updated in how these last, but it worked very nicely, so thank you so much for that tip. And then this is how the nails look. Final cure for 2 minutes, and then wiping away any inhibition layer with alcohol, and we are done.
Just also on the topic of 3D molds, I wanted to show you, I did try to use the frame ones. I need to find a better gel for like very fine molds because I was using the Devoc Painting Fanta White. It works okay, but for these thin ones, it's too brittle. So that's why I switched up the original kind of architecture design. I want to save this idea to put towards more of a orangey autumnal set. That's the update on that. Okay guys, time for final thoughts and the final nails. This is what they look like. And then if I put the flash on so you can see the cat eye. Oh my god, look at that. And then, how am I going to show you this? Basically in comparison to this SKULLPANDA, which is kind of like turned out to be the main inspiration was this Paradox one, right? But I think they turned out so well when you compare the color schemes, right? Initially, when I painted the Diami Cat Me powder on top of the Divock June Hydrangea, I was like, oh, this changed the color so much. Like, it darkened it quite a lot. But now that I'm looking at the nails, I actually think it darkened it to a really, really pretty shade of blue, purple, violet. So yeah, definitely something to note if you do pick up the Cat Me powders. But I'm honestly so impressed with them. And just to recap a little bit in terms of the Pochit Nudy Glaze gels, I am in love with them. I have been searching for the perfect collection of neutral syrup gels for a few months now, and I think I have found them. They perform beautifully. As you saw, I could just paint them on top of each other and they kind of just blended together. I didn't even need to ombre it. Like, if I'd gone in with a brush, it probably would have disturbed it too much. It was that seamless. They also performed beautifully with the June Hydrangea gel. I would recommend, if you're going to be using them with some more opaque colors, potentially build up the Nudy Glaze ones. And in terms of the colors across the whole collection, so you have 5 in total, OS01 through to OS05. I did see online that Pochit mentioned OS04 and 05, so the 2 deepest shades are supposed to be a bit more of a opaque syrup, but I didn't find that to be the case in my experience. What I actually found is that OS01 is that really pretty white with a slight tinge of pink. And in terms of the opacity, so if I say like 0% is not syrupy at all, and then 100% is super syrupy, I would put this one maybe like a 50-60%, so it's in the middle. OS02 is this gorgeous, perfect light pink color, which I'd put more towards like a 75% syrup, so it's a bit more transparent and buildable. OS03 is this really pretty kind of like light orange tone, so perfect if you want a neutral shade, which is more to pair with creams or browns or reds, you know, that kind of autumnal vibe that we're going into as well. That one was a little bit more opaque, kind of like the first one, so I'd put it around like 50-60% syrup. OS04, a bit of a deeper orange tone, tan orange tone, really pretty. I would say this is actually a bit more of a syrup from my swatches, so I'd put it again around 75%. OS05, which is this really pretty kind of like a blush deep pink color, is again a bit more of a transparent one, so I'd put it around the 75% mark as well. The Milk Snow Gel was also really pretty, definitely perfect for winter sets that are coming up. Like, I kind of used it in a couple of these gels, and even though there's multicolored glitter in them, it doesn't really like shine through that much. It's mostly just the pretty like white snow effect, which I personally really appreciate because I wanted this set to be mainly the pinks and the purples. And the Paper Matte Art Gel is really interesting. It's a little bit of a thicker consistency, but I also found that I could thin it out very easily as well. It worked pretty well with the white Sakura Gelly Roll pens, as you can see, but I'm gonna keep testing it with some other like pencils or other. The only thing to note on that gel is that if you're going to use it, be cautious that it's going to frost your nail a little bit. For example, on this thumbnail, as you saw, the cat eye doesn't shine through as much after top coating with a clear top coat, I guess partly just due to the formulation and it being more for like drawing. So overall, I really love the collection. Please expect to see them in a lot more videos coming up. If you're interested in purchasing them or any of the other products I've used throughout this video, then I will have links in the description box as always. If you'd like to support my channel, then you can use code HOPE10 for 10% off at Sweetie Nail Supply. Otherwise, as mentioned, the summer sale will be starting very soon. The dates are currently TBD, but hopefully be sometime this coming week. So from the week commencing Monday the 18th of August. I'll keep you guys updated on my Instagram stories, so if you want to stay notified, then of course you can follow Sweetie Nail Supply, but you can also follow me to be notified of when the 25% sale goes live. And if you do want to support me during that 25% sale, then you can also use code HOPE25. I've been picking up a few press-on nail supply things here and there recently, so please expect a nail supply haul next. I'm gonna stop yapping here. As always, if you like the video, then please give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more gel nails content. As always, thank you very much for watching and goodbye.